head over to miniaturemarket.com where you can find thousands of board games at discounted prices like Welkin. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be building real estate. But we're not going to be using the same types of materials we're used to seeing down here, like using the hammers and wood and stucco and things like that. We're going to be building celestial type real estate way up in the clouds. Today we're taking a look at Welkin. This is an economic game with a fluctuating market with some contract fulfillment. It's for 2 to 4 players, takes about 40 minutes to play, and is brought to us in North America by Luma Games. Let me show you how this one's played. I'll see you on the other side. So since you're a celestial builder in the clouds, you'll be building all sorts of these different beautiful types of real estate. You'll be using different goods like animal skins and metal and gems and elements and shrubs and flowers and such. The game focuses around this board, and the board is going to have 5 different pieces of real estate that you could possibly build. But the board is also going to have sort of a market of economics here, where there's different types of materials, of elements, gems, sort of flowers, animals, and animal skins and the metal here. You're going to be using these materials to build these different things. For example, this one needs 1 metal and 1 animal skin. And depending on what is out here in the market, which will fluctuate and you can cause to change, will tell you how much money you make, because in the end of the game, the one with the most money wins. Each player will get a player board. These are the different goods that are in the game, and you'll be using these to manage those resources here, and you'll be building buildings that will essentially go here. Now, players' turns are very easy. You can do 1 of 3 things on your turn, and turns move very quickly. One thing you can do is open a construction site, which is simply just taking 1 of these from the board, placing it in front of you, and then refilling from a draw deck of cards. So on your turn, you might open a construction site and take 1 of those like this. Now, normally you can only hold 2 of these, 1 here and 1 here. That would be your turn. Now, sometimes when you take cards, you're able to fluctuate the market. This means you can flip any one resource. And this is one of the most important parts of the game, because when you get this, you're essentially going to be trying to get the resources to complete it. And when you complete it, you're going to make money based upon this fluctuating market. Like if it ended right now and I was able to complete this, 2 purple gems and an animal skin. Well, each purple is going to be worth 2 and each animal skin is going to be worth 1. So that would be 2, 4, 5, because there's 2 purples and 1 of this. That would be 5. But since I took this, I can fluctuate the market. So I'll take something else that's not on here. And now these show you what is on the back sides of these. And since purple, I have more of these here, I'll take this one, which shows it has purple on the back, and I'll flip it because that's what this allowed me to do. Now, if I were to sell this now, it's going to be worth 2 of those purple gems times 3, so that's 6. And 1, so that would get me 7. That's a lot more. So taking these cards allows you to change that fluctuating market. But another thing you can do on your turn is procure construction materials, and that has to do with these. Now they all start like this. Now what you can do is I can see I need 2 purple gems and an animal skin in order to build this. Now what you can do on your turn for this procurement is you must flip 1 of these over for free. So you can flip this over, and what this says is you right now are going to get 1 resource. You can take any one of these. So maybe I want to get a purple gem. So I'll take 1 from the supply and I'll place it right here. You can hold up to 4 resources. If you have more than 4, you discard down. Now let's say on my next turn, everyone else would take a turn. On my next turn, I want to procure construction materials again. Now I need gems and animal skins, so let's say I want to flip this over. Now what this means is I have 2 resources of these types. So I can take any 2 of this combination. So I'm going to take a purple gem, and I'm going to take an animal skin and place it right on my board. So now I have this. Now next time it comes around to my turn, I can do the 3rd possible action, which is using these construction materials. Essentially, I make this to show everyone I can do it. These would essentially go back to the supply, and I would finish this card. Now I showed you how I fluctuated the market when I got this, but others could have been getting cards to do the same thing, and maybe the market looked like this when I finished it. So the market can change in between what you really want to do, and you got to be careful of that. So let's say I've got 2 purple gems, so it's 2 each, that's 4, and 1 of these, which is 2, so it's 6. Not bad, not as good as the 7 I would have gotten, but not as bad as what would have happened before the initial fluctuation. So I would take 7 coins. Now when you finish a card, it goes over here. And this is important because some cards have special abilities that you can use as a one-time ability. Like this says I can spend 1 coin to get any 2 resources. I could do that any time on my turn, and then I would flip it over. Now another thing about money is they're essentially points at the end of the game. But when you take a procurement action, let's say I had this card here in front of me, this is actually one of those interesting cards. It's sort of wild. You can use any 2 resources, but it doesn't allow you to sort of do anything. Those are the ones you want to use when you want to sort of get to the market quickly. Now, when I flip things, you must flip 1 when you're procuring, but let's say I wanted to get this. I would flip this for free, but you can spend as many coins as you want. So maybe I would spend a coin and flip this, and maybe I wanted to flip a coin and get this. Like maybe I wanted to get 3 of something like this. So you can spend your points, essentially coins, to flip more than once on your turn. That's an interesting part of the game. That's pretty much the whole game. The game continues in clockwise manner until you can't refill sort of any contracts into the board, and then everyone else will get a turn. But I want to show you what some of these other special abilities do. Now this one allows you to add a construction site from the board right to your board. This one allows you to essentially use the construction materials, essentially like using the materials to get something. So it allows you to sort of, you could procure for your turn, and if you had this one finished, you could flip it and essentially spend those to finish a project. This one here allows you to not only finish, use construction materials and finish a project, but do it early, meaning you could do it before you even are finished. Of course, you only get money for the ones you have on there, but it allows you to sort of take advantage of the market before you might see it changing. And this one allows you to take any 2 different types of items and flip them over, changing the market. So that's pretty much it. At the end, whoever has the most money is the winner. And if it's a tie, the player who has the most completed construction sites wins. All right, well, let me tell you what I first liked about this game. Beautiful, colorful art. I mean, this game is gorgeous. You look at the art, and there's many different types of buildings that are in the game, and they all just pop right off the cards. It looks beautiful. Now, there's many buildings that are similar to some of the other ones, and you might at first glance go, oh, they just have like 7 different buildings, and then they're all the same, but they're not. If you look closely, depending on which materials were being used for that, there might be more trees if it's a lot of forest, or more animals on there if it's more animal skin. I like the variance of the different buildings on there as well. This game has streamlined mechanisms and rules. I love games that have a lot of depth and just not that much complexity. This game, you're doing 1 of 3 things. This game, I'd say, is about as complex as Splendor, has some things that feel like Splendor, and as much as I love Splendor, I might even like this one even better. This thing is fantastic. And because of those streamlined rules, the turns are quick. But my favorite part is the fluctuating market. This is a cutthroat, mean game. I mean, you're going to be building up to try to build some stuff. Other people are going to be building other things. They're going to be fluctuating the market, changing it so that's going away from what you're trying to build and or what they're going to build. Or maybe you see what other people have. And you're like, oh, well, everyone's going big with the purple gems. I want to get on that too, because players are going to want a lot of that. We work together to get that. And then we jump on something else. And it's kind of fun that sometimes you're working with players and sometimes you're working against them, sometimes both. So that fluctuating market is awesome. And trying to time the market at the right time is the name of this game, and it's so fun. You might have something you're like, oh, it's perfect right now. And then the next 2 turns, they've fluctuated the market. It's like, man, this thing's worth nothing. Well, I might start, I might think about this, but I'll work on something else instead now, and I'll come back to this later when the market comes back. I love that. The procurement mechanism was very interesting. I hadn't seen this before, where you flip over 1 token for free and it's going to tell you how many resources you get. And as you go on, you can spend basically points, which is money, to flip more than 1 of those up. I like that because you're flipping up stuff to get resources, but then you got to figure out which ones to flip and which ones not to flip, because you can only take the ones that are not, that are face up. And it's just a really interesting mechanism that I really much enjoyed. The special abilities on completed sites was really cool, trying to figure out when to use those. Those are always fun times because sometimes you would have big turns with those. And the timing of those big turns with those abilities and fluctuating the market, just come up with some turns that are just so fulfilling when you hammer something home big like that. Trying to pick the cards based on the current market conditions and based upon your current procurement, that's fun to do. I mean, lots of deep decisions, lots of player interaction. I love this game. It's fantastic. Negative side, there's no player aid for those special abilities. The icons, sure, they're there, but they don't really make a whole lot of sense. You really need to look at the rules. Sure, after you play the game a few times, you'll know what they all do, but I would have rather just seen on your board or a separate little player aid card or something that just said what those special abilities do. I don't know why more and more people just keep leaving player aids out, and I don't know why they do that. Come on. You got to figure this out. This is what people do these days. Also, the last turns can have a little bit of king making involved, which can sour the game for some. Because there's no hidden information, because you can see who's in the lead pretty much, A lot of times on that last turn, someone could totally screw the market for you and really mess you over. So, or they can be like, well, you know what? I'm not going to win. It's probably going to be one of these two people. I can fluctuate the market. Which one do I want to win? Because both of them are probably going to fulfill a contract this time, and I can basically say who's going to get the more points. And the game's usually pretty tight, so I don't like that aspect. But overall, the game is fantastic. I mean, if you like Splendor style games, if you like economic market fluctuating style games, wow, this game's fantastic. I love it, and it's staying in my gaming library. It's getting my highest honor, the Saxophone Serenade, because I got to get rid of a game in order to keep this one, which is always a tough decision. So we're going to give it a Saxophone Serenade. This has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships through board games by helping you find the next one you'll love. Did you miss the Game Topper 2.0 Kickstarter? Have no fear, it's not too late to get in on the ultimate gaming accessory. Convert your table into a high-quality gaming table with a fully portable Game Topper system and take advantage of some of the best 3mm premium gaming mats in the industry. New styles, new sizes, and new accessories can be yours. Upgrade every game you play by late backing now at GameToppersLLC.com.